How to do great things when you know nothing. I want you guys to think of someone you really admire professionally. Someone who you think that is innovative, who is always thinking out of the box. Well, probably this person, the image that you have of this person is of someone really self-confident, very secure about themselves. Someone who really knows what they're doing, right? Well, probably this person is like this, exactly this way today. But what we don't see is that actually their path is what shaped them to be just like this. And no one's path is replicable. Even if we follow this person's step by step, we won't reach the same result in the end. Because in our own path, we'll have different factors. So if no one's path is replicable, imagine when you want to innovate, that you don't even have someone's path to actually mirror yourself. The path is only paved as you walk. And we tend to think that we can only start when we are 100% ready. But truth is, we will never feel 100% ready, because as you discover that you have to learn something to do, something that you really want to, eventually you will find something else you have to learn. So the path is only paved as you walk. And I know that this may sound a little bit negative, but actually, exactly because you don't know what lies ahead in your path, maybe this is exactly the strength you can find to actually go ahead. I'm gonna tell you how my team and I turned my hobby into a startup, media tech, with an audience of more than 3 million people worldwide. Well, I founded my company when I was 18 years old, but to be honest, at that time, I didn't even know I was founding my own company. I had just started architecture college back in Brazil, and it was 2013, and I was really enthusiastic about the architectural world. I was completely taken by the energy of beginnings. And I started saving lots of different architecture references, pictures on my folder, on my phone, because for school, we always had to bring different study cases. So one day, I realized I had many references, and I felt the urge to share this with the world. So I decided to create a page on a specific social media platform, and it was right in the beginning of this social media platform existence, actually. So this was one of the first pages on this platform. And I was writing everything in English because all these projects were from different authors from different parts of the world. So I really wanted them to understand that I really found their work amazing. So it wasn't a visionary act. It was just a genuine act of a student who really wanted to share these references with the world. So eventually, I brought people to help me with the page, and then we started building up a team. And then eventually more people came and joined as partners with different perspectives. And at some point, we realized that no other media was using videos as a tool in communicating architecture. And we really thought that videos were a very good tool to really communicate architecture, because architecture is about the connection between spaces, and it's not about only the result, but the processes behind it. So usually when we interview an architect or a designer, they tend to be very passionate people, and we really thought that if we communicated architecture through videos, this could help us to show the world how important architecture is. So we said, okay, we're going to be a video-first platform regarding architecture. And eventually we did. Now we were the first media mainly communicating through videos globally. But what no one sees is how difficult this path was. In the beginning, we had no idea how many challenges we would face. But that's exactly why we made this work. Because once we found how powerful this tool was to make this happen, it was not about an opportunity in the market. It was something that we felt we really needed to do. So no one saw how challenging it was to make it globally. And I want you guys now to think of a dark tunnel. And this tunnel is so dark that you cannot even see a light in the end of it. And then someone gives you a flashlight. It's not a very strong flashlight. Actually, you can only see a few meters ahead of you. But this flashlight is strong enough for you to see the obstacles, the holes, so you have to dodge it. It's strong enough for you to see the curves, so you don't hit your head on the wall. And then you go walking and walking and walking, and then sometimes you look back and you realize that these tunnels' light are being turned on. So you can see what is behind you, not what is ahead of you, but what is behind you. And then you can see how many challenges you have already faced and that you could actually make through it. And then eventually you find yourself in the end of this tunnel. And then you can see, really can see all the lights turn on and everything that you faced. And when you were there, while you were walking this path, it was difficult. But now you see how many obstacles you dodged and you faced. And this is what I like to call the power of humble ignorance at the beginnings. And this represents the path and your confidence being built while you're walking. So as you could see the light turning on, and then this made you realize how many obstacles you had already faced, this represents your confidence being built. So you could not see what was ahead yet. The light could not show you this, but you saw how many challenges you faced, and this made you believe, okay, if I deal with that, maybe I can deal with the problems that is ahead of you. And at some point, you start to see the light in the end of the tunnel, so you see that you can face and you can reach the end of it. And also, the flashlight represents your humbleness, because it's only because you accepted this flashlight that someone gave you that it made you be able to face the challenges, to see what was ahead of you. Because if you said, okay, no, I don't need this flashlight, you would probably have fallen in one of these holes, and then you have to stop, and you wouldn't be able to handle with that problem. So imagine also if someone had actually turned on all the lights in the beginning of your tunnel instead of giving you the flashlight. Maybe if you could see how many problems you would have to face and how tortuous was this path, maybe this would make you give up, because you would think it was impossible. So when you have an innovative path to follow, usually you can use your humble ignorance to make you go through it. And also, when we want to innovate, there are some other things we have to keep in mind. Of course, we have to listen to what the market is asking for, what people are saying, but it's not only that. When you want to innovate, you have to see beyond. We have to observe people's behavior. We have to face and see and try to understand what is a problem that people sometimes are not realizing it is a problem. Henry Ford once said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And I think this phrase explains it all. Well, back in 2018, in our company, we realized that not many people in architecture field was actually using virtual reality as a tool. And we were seeing that this tool was actually being used a lot in other fields, like in gaming world, and that this was a really good potential for our field. And you see, sometimes when we don't look only to what is being done in our field, and we start to looking beyond, usually innovative ideas can really sparkle when we are looking to other fields of activity. So I remember one day my professor telling in architecture school that an architect, to become a good architect, must travel. And this is the only way to really have experience with architecture from different cultures. And this will make you a good architect. And even though this thinking made sense, it also seemed very unfair to say that you can only become a good architect if you travel, you know, like how inclusive is this thinking? So when we had our first experience with virtual reality, we thought, okay, this might be our opportunity to bring worldwide architecture to the world. So we had an idea of a physical exhibition in virtual reality. It would be an itinerant exhibition. So we invited 10 different architects from 10 different parts of the world, and they would have to make an exclusive design for us, and we would make this into virtual reality and do an itinerant exhibition. And to be honest, I don't know what we had in mind when we thought they would accept this invitation, but they actually did. So we had Kingo Kuma from Japan, Marcio Kogan from Brazil, Luciano Krug from Argentina, Through Accent from Denmark. We had great names, like 10 of the best names of architecture, really putting all the effort in doing this work for us so we could really travel the world and bring this virtual reality experience to more people. This was in 2019. And then the idea was to start the exhibition in 2020. But then pandemic came. And of course, we had to put a hold on this project. And we were kind of sad because we did not know like when we could make this happen again, you know. But then this year, finally, we managed to make this exhibition happen. After 5 years, we finally did it. And it happened sometimes. It happened twice, actually, this year already. But the most important one for us was during the most important design week in the world, the Milan Design Week. And we were so happy. And we learned 3 different lessons in this. One is that non-ideal results pave the path to ideal results. You see, we idealized the perfect exhibition would be an opportunity for people to actually have like a huge space where they could walk through with the virtual reality goggles and really experience all those amazing projects. But we couldn't do this for this exhibition in Milan. We only had a small room in Milan with 3 chairs and a very nice scenario. So we could only manage to have 3 people per time. And that was far, far from what we idealized. But this version of the exhibition was exactly what we needed to understand what else is needed to actually, we one day are capable to do this ideal exhibition. So we had to go through this version so we can understand what is needed to do for the ideal version. But also, at the same time, we know that when we manage to do this ideal version that we consider today ideal, probably technology will be developed and we'll have more ideas, so we will have a new ideal version, like idea, you know. So also, another lesson is that we'll never reach the ideal. The second lesson that we learn is that sometimes your plan won't be followed. And maybe that's exactly why you will succeed. Because if we have managed to do the exhibition in 2020, when not many people were interested in virtual reality, maybe we wouldn't have so many people interested in joining and participating in our exhibition. So it was exactly because it didn't work out, and because like the past years we have like a huge boom in metaverse and in virtual reality and even AI, that even though we had like a very small room in Milan this year, it was packed with people, and people really enjoyed the experience because the projects were amazing. And the third lesson that we learned, and which I think is the most beautiful one, is that anyone in our team have ever had any kind of experience with this type of exhibition, ever. So everything that we did, this was the first international architecture showcase in virtual reality in the world done by people who knew nothing. And that's what I think is beautiful about this. If you really think that you have an innovative idea and that you feel that you know nothing, but this will be an important thing to the market for people, this might be a sign of your humbleness that you can use as a tool to guide you to find your path. And also, if you're feeling that you know nothing, maybe this is also your sign that you are looking at something that no one else is. Perhaps you do know something after all. And that's how you do great things when you feel you know nothing.